Do we want to go ahead and get started? Or do we need another minute? We're good? Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. I believe the first action is to approve the prior meeting minutes, which I think was December. Do we have any recommended changes, or just go ahead and may have a motion to approve? Thank you, sir.
Second.
Let's see if it pops up. That's fine. It's not pulling up. Do we just want to do it verbally? Yeah, that's true. That'll work. Okay, we'll just do it verbally. So it was first moved by Doug, seconded Lindsay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, passes. We'll go into items for consideration.
All right. Afternoon. Assistant Public Works Director Brandon Bundy, filling in for Chad Meisenberg. This item is for a new traffic operations system that we want to try. Technology is starting to catch up with our traffic. They're starting to put AI type capabilities in this equipment, and we want to beta test a few different sites. This rhythm traffic is out of Kansas City, and it's not something that we typically have, but it's a location we want to try on Portland. It's a pretty heavily congested corridor, and this will not only detect traffic, but will count traffic, and then it'll suggest changes in the signal timing. And these are 3 intersections back to back, and so they'll coordinate. And we're going to see how it goes.
I have a question. In our packets, it just said the RFPs had gone out, but have you identified a vendor?
This is going to be a sole source. I'm not sure this was an RFP.
I was just curious too. So it's not just 164th? Is it going to be 150th and 178th or what?
164th, 178th, and 192nd.
It's needed. That'll be a good test there.
Yeah. I like the way you think. Yes, just 80,000. Should be less than that, but you know.
I've been here a long time. There's a lot of expensive stuff going on.
Here, so
Yes.
cheap.
Okay, any other questions?
I recommend approval.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Moved by Linda and seconded by Christopher. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. We'll move on to the next item.
All right, the second item is to start putting some seed money into our pavement management software, and we're going to do some data collection. We've done some data collection a few years ago, but this will be tied in with the software. And oftentimes we can get all the data and it can look really good, but then when leaders ask, well, what if we do this? What if we do this? And it's hard to anticipate what these pavement deterioration curves. This software will allow us to kind of look at the different variables and predict out what our pavement will be based on if we put money into it, if we do a minor rehabilitation, things like that. This will also be used for the future bonds for planning purposes. And the RFP is going to go out probably in the next month or two.
Let's say, is there a specific, like, software or software program that y'all use? Because I know, is it Paver, there's the actual system that collects the data?
It's kind of a two-part. There will be a software mechanism, and we have different ideas of what those pavement management systems are. There's multiple softwares out there. But then the other part of that will be the data collection, and we want to make sure the data collection ties in with the software. We don't want a bunch of data that we can't really put into our software correctly. We want them to be in sync together.
Okay.
So, and I will correct myself, this is the one where I saw RFPs were out. Is the 500,000, what is the purpose of putting the money aside now before you have RFP responses?
I think it's to have the money ready to go when we put it under contract.
Have you had any responses yet?
We haven't actually put out the RFP. I
Okay.
apologize. Yeah.
Okay,
It is going out, final drafts. We're going to advertise it.
okay, thank you.
So without the RFP, where did you estimate the 500,000? Where'd that come from?
I think it's after months of research and determining not only what a regular software cost is, but predicting how much they will charge us per mile to get the data. Unfortunately, right now, someone will have to go over every mile. And so they charge, I think they said $7 per mile, which is pretty high. I predict in a few years it'll get cheaper, and eventually it'll be done by satellite or drones or something, I guess. But as of right now, they kind of predicted how much other cities have charged or have been charged for the data collection, and then the software package itself is not going to be, it's higher than we all personally would want to pay for software. It's still going to be in the hundreds of thousands, but they kind of asked around different cities.
So are you saying that they'll do this, and then instead of me calling my city councilman that there's a problem with the asphalt, it'll predict when there's going to be a problem? I'm
I
not
would
sure.
love for it to be
I'm
that
not
case. That's what we want. We want it to say that, say when we put together a bond package, we can't put all the streets on the bond package. So we have to draw a line somewhere. And when we go to the decision makers and say, we got 100 projects, if we could do 150, then the PCI will be this. I'm sorry, I'm putting a lot of terms, but the PCI is the pavement condition index, and that is something that city council and city manager want to kind of, as a scorecard, see how we compare to other cities. And that's what this will do, is tell us what the PCI is today, so kind of our scorecard, and tell us if we don't do any maintenance, you'll start dropping off. If we take 100 projects, our PCI will be here. If we do 150 projects, the PCI will be here, kind of that predictive measurement that you're talking about. And it is predictive, whether all kinds of different things happen, but this software will be able to aggregate all those.
Maybe look back at Oklahoma's weather, salt, da-da-da-da, and
Yes.
make a prediction on that.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess based on y'all's prediction of the cost, would you say that you're probably consistently, generally accurate on how much it should cost prior to putting out an RFP?
That's a pretty round number. So until it depends on, really the data collection part will be the biggest item of the cost. And we're going to do as much as we can, and it depends on what technologies they propose to us.
But I guess what I'm asking is, like, you wouldn't feel like you feel like this is probably a pretty, like, just in the ballpark number?
Yes,
Okay.
ballpark number.
Sounds like from what you said before, the city council, who actually the one to finalize approvals, is the one who's asked for this. Is that, you said
I'm
the
not
city
sure.
manager and the city council wants this, is a
It's
statement you
something
made?
that's collectively we want. I'm not sure exactly who has said we need to do this now,
Okay.
but it is something that will benefit the city long-term.
Okay.
And this will also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it'll help with the bond projects that we go to vote on this fall. It'll also help Public Works prioritize and know which streets are the worst. So let's sell money for, these specific projects. Well, we sell by proposition, but it'll help them get a priority list also. So if you have a road that currently has a bunch of potholes, then it's gonna rise to the top of the list, I would imagine.
Yeah, I guess a good way of explaining it is you all live in different parts of the city, and you all have a road that you think is the worst road that you drive. So you have a road that's the worst that you drive, and Chris has a road that he thinks is the worst drive, but then who determines which of those two worst roads should be fixed first? And it kind of takes the subjectivity out of it a little bit. There's still, it helps us measure them all equally.
And the city has done, I think they've collected this data before, right?
They do, and right now it's in a spreadsheet or a database. And that's where that software will change. Over time, it can take a road that's the best, 5 years from now won't be the best. And then it starts a curve, and so then it starts predictive parts of it.
And if something happens and all the proposals come back and they're more than 500,000, then I would imagine we'd plug into some other funding stream like the general fund and make up that difference.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those, was it coming up? Sorry.
I was hoping it wouldn't, because they blocked me out of it. I don't know why.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll go on to the next item.
All right, this project is not technology-based, and actually, I'll have Mr. Concha talk about it. It's his project. Yeah, sure.
All right, so my name is Ryan Concha, Senior Project Manager in the Bond Group. So this specific project was a 07 project, and all those funds were spent, so we're requesting a second phase to utilize the 17 funds. It was identified years ago before I was started here, but the cost was too high. We applied for ACOG funds. We got awarded ACOG funds, so they're going to be covering roughly 80% of the cost, and we'll be matching 20%. And so that's what the 1.25 is for. It's for covering engineering and then our part of the resurfacing. So it's from around Northwest 37th across this bridge to the Northwest 41st Street.
Is this replacing the whole bridge deck and everything?
Just the deck, yes. And it's a lot of the approaches are bad, and once you start doing those, you have to go across.
I have a few questions, if that's okay. So I see where the yellow highlight is, but the description and then what you just said it goes from like 38th to 41st. So it's beyond just the yellow highlight?
Right. So the reason it's highlighted like this is because that's the most expensive parts. All the concrete, we got to get down to the rebar. We're not touching any of the superstructures. It's just the road only. In the way the ACOG grant is worded. It just says I-44, may over I-44. So that's kind of the confusion on it.
Yep. And then I noticed that the 2 sidewalks on either side are not highlighted. Those are the pedestrian walkways. Those aren't part of this project.
Well, once we get into the engineering and have those fully developed, we can tell you which side it's going to be on. If they're already there, we're going to maintain them. We're not going to reduce them. And with the way the lane's configured, we don't want to change any of that. So if that's an accurate overlay and a description of it, then it'll go back the same.
Okay, so it won't be necessarily more pedestrian friendly than it is now.
At this time, I'm not sure. We might be able to fit a parapet wall or something like that, which is just a big
Yeah.
crash wall to protect them. But
Yeah.
we'd have to see. We're not changing the dimensions, and we want to maintain the proper width for lanes. So
And then is the allocation comes from that project you mentioned from North May to 38th all the way to 40th. Is that project underway and these are surplus funds, or this is all part of the same?
it's all part of the same.
Is there any coordination with the maps for beautification of I-44? Because
There hasn't been on this one yet, but we can make sure that happens.
awesome, thank you. And then this is a big, there are a lot of pedestrians and a lot of gathering in this part of this whole intersection and on the north and south parts of May. Is there any key to home coordination or any?
So typically when we come out and we do see a lot of people gathering, we'll reach out to the HOT team and give them all of their resources. So that's all we have for it right now.
I would say if you could add to the HOT team, the Key to Home team, they have additional resources that would be helpful. Which lanes are being closed, or do you know that yet?
We don't know the sequencing yet, because right now we just need to get the engineering moving. Once the engineering is moving, then we can look at how we're going to navigate the closures, so on and so forth. But I anticipate it would be either half at a time,
Yeah.
or like a racetrack style where they do outsides and insides. But with it being a bridge, it's a little bit more complex because it's all concrete work.
For sure. I just want to make sure that you all are aware there will be a whole lot of pedestrians displaced when this happens. Okay, thank you so much.
Key to Homes, I'll write that one down and make sure we reach out to them.
Awesome, thank you.
I have a general question. So just for clarification, so this bridge over 44, any bridge in the city that goes over a highway and it's a city street, it's the city's responsibility for maintenance of that bridge, or just the road portion?
So we're responsible for the deck. They're responsible for the superstructure.
So then, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are traffic signals included in this project?
No, it's just resurfacing and bridge deck replacement.
All right, any other questions? All right, we'll see. All right, looks like it's happening on the computer. That was moved by Lindsay, seconded by Jeff. And should come through.
Oh, we're still doing the vote by verbally, because some of us don't have access to it.
Yeah.
So,
So it was moved by Lindsay and seconded by Jeff. So all those in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move into informational items. Any information? Does it look like any?
Have you got those up?
Ah, there it
Have you
goes.
got, there it is, okay. Well, since we last got together, you can see we're consistently, our rolling 12-month average expenditures, a little short of $100 million. the May number is 88, but that was just through the 19th. So as of today, it's closer to the $100 million. And so we maintain the consistency of our spending. And if we'll go to the next slide, please. And you can see our 2022 sale year, we have exceeded our 85% requirement in 3 years. We're at 90%. We're well underway for the 23 for 46%, and we've made some movement since we met last time. We're at 12% on the 2024 last year's sale. And next month, if I get it done, we will move this chart to drop off 2022 and include the 2025 sale, which we've just sold $160 million, correct? Or $160 million. And so that's all that I have.
Awesome. Any questions there? All right, moving to new. We don't need to make a motion on that, do we? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we'll go on to new business. Is there any new business? Or any items from committee members? Any citizens to be heard? With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right. Thank you all.